Hey everyone, today I'll be reviewing my new Bionicle MOC Destroyer. This MOC took me about 4.5 hours to build, and I'd like to say he's upwards of 350 pieces. This MOC stands at about 12 inches tall when he's standing up completely straight. Unfortunately, all of my other MOCs are broken right now, so I can't put any of them up next to him so you can see how big he actually is. I'm going to go ahead and remove his weapon for the review. It's really big and it will definitely get in the way. I went with a 3-jointed leg design for this MOC. Even though it's technically not 3-jointed, it just looks like it. I decided to cut out the extra joint right there where the knee should be. I cut that joint out just because I wanted his legs to be a little more stable, and so I just made that a fixed position right there. That way, I would have more room to work and put more details, because there's a ball joint right there. It would limit some of the possibilities. And plus, I can make it a little more sturdy if I don't include that third ball joint. I do like the look of 3-jointed legs, so that's why I went with it. And I think it turned out looking pretty good. I used a lot of these friction adding pieces just to make sure he wouldn't fall over, because this is a pretty heavy MOC after all. I used 4 of these tiny Bionicle armor plates on, I guess, the top of his calf or near his knee. I really like those armor plates. They look really cool. This knee armor moves a little bit whenever you just touch it, but it doesn't really matter because it's not going to fall off. And as long as it doesn't move too much, I'm okay with a little bit of wobble in the armor. I used these 2016 or 2015 Bionicle armor add-on pieces for his thighs. I think those look really good and they cover up a lot of space. I only used 2 wires on his leg design, which typically I use a lot more than just 2 wires on the leg design. I thought about wrapping wires around his ankles just because this is supposed to be a very mechanical build, but I decided that the exposed ball joints looks fine as well. Around the back of the legs, you can see there's not really anything too interesting. I liked those armor plates too. I think I got those from Spinax, if I remember right. Next up, we have the arms. I really like the arm design. I especially like the forearms. I made them a little thicker than the usual forearm design just because he carries a big mace-like weapon, so I thought he would probably have to have pretty muscled up arms because I'm sure it's very heavy. I really like using these jet pieces for the triceps just because they connect very easily and it's easy to use them to stabilize the rest of the arm. I used one of those Bionicle silver foot pieces just because those are so easy to use and they're flat and they make great armor plates. And they're very easy to use for biceps especially, and the side of arms and the side of legs also. They're very easy to connect to the side of anything because they're so flat. I used a few Bionicle armor plates on the bottom of his arm just to give it some extra detail. I really like this spiky armor plate piece. I only have 2 of them, so I use them very sparingly, and so I decided I could use them on this MOC. Since this is kind of like a mechanical night, I thought I should break out all of the cool silver armor plates that I have. I don't think I originated this hand design. In fact, I think I've seen it on maybe a Bionicle set. After you remove the weapon, I always put these thumb pieces, or I guess technically tooth pieces, but in this context, I use them for thumbs. That makes his hand design look a lot cooler. I really like these head pieces. I've never used them on a MOC before, though, I don't think, and so I decided here would be a good place to use them for the hands. That might have been a hand design I've seen on another MOC. If so, I don't mean to steal the design. It is a very good design, but just know it's probably not original to me, so definitely don't give me the credit for this hand design. The body design looks pretty good. It's actually probably my favorite part. I went with a skinny torso design, and the reason I did that is because I used a Technic lift arm piece, and so I thought it would look cool if I just gave him a skinny body design, because that would be kind of like a contrast between the huge upper body and then the skinny torso. The reason why I don't usually make skinny torso designs is because typically I make custom bodies, and usually I make them very thick so they're sturdy. But with this lift arm, I don't have to worry about stability because it's a very stable piece in and of itself. So I can just do whatever I want with the body since it's already sturdy. I've never really made a MOC that's this big with this small of a torso, so I thought that might also look interesting. And since this is a robot, I don't really have to worry about proportions like I would with a human MOC, even though I've never really made a human MOC before, but I thought I'd make that comparison. The back isn't very interesting. You can see some blue Technic pieces shining through if you look at certain angles. That doesn't really matter, though, because the back isn't really where he's going to be viewed anyway. I wish I would have had some extra time to cover this gap up. I don't think it looks horrible, and since this is supposed to be, obviously, a robot, not everything has to be covered because that kind of looks mechanical, but also, in a way, it looks unfinished. These Exo-Force arms are used purely just to connect the two wires that run all the way from his back all the way up to his shoulder plates. Those shoulder plates are really cool. I got those from the 2015 all-newest set. They're really useful because they're big, they cover a lot of space, and they're easy to connect. They look great as shoulder plates also. This chest plate I also got from the 2015 Bionicle series. I don't remember which skeleton I got it from. All of the chest plates are different, and so I probably should remember who that came from, but I don't at the moment. I used some Bionicle shoulder armor plates also. I used those just to widen the chest design, and I think those look really cool. The head looks really good as well. This is one of my favorite head designs that I've ever made. I used one of these bendable spike pieces for a crown. I know they make those in gold. It's unfortunate that I don't have one because that would look really cool if he had a golden crown rather than this silver crown. I used those drill dozer horn pieces to give him kind of a more menacing look. I wanted to add something like ears to him, and I didn't know what to add, so I just found those drill dozer spikes, so I put them right there. I think they look pretty good. I wish I would have had a trans orange or trans blue vent piece because I think that would look really cool because it would stand out, but that dark gray vent kind of just blends in with his head design. I do think it looks cool, though. It really looks like a knight helmet to me, and so I'm glad with how it turned out. Now on to the weapon. I went with this mace design because I thought a sword and a shield were too generic, so I settled on a mace instead. The butt of the weapon looks pretty good. I put a few of these pieces back here just to add detail. One of those Lego domes to a gear to a small wheel piece. I think it looks pretty good, that combination of pieces. The wheel is also there kind of to slope the design into the small handle design. I think that looks pretty good. The top of the mace is obviously a little more complex. I went with 6 of these Bionicle knife pieces. I thought that would look cool. Originally, I used 3 huge Bionicle sword pieces that are like this long for the design, and I added a whole bunch of other stuff, but it wound up being too heavy. I wish I would have kept up the original design to show you, but unfortunately it's broken right now. I put a diamond on the very top just to kind of give it a little extra detail. I really like this mace design. I probably should have covered up all of these holes, but it doesn't really matter to me because at the end of the day, this is just his weapon. It doesn't do much for the MOC, in my opinion at least. Well, that's really all I have to say about this MOC. I have a new series that I'm thinking about doing that's going to be a lot different than my typical stuff. So stay tuned for the next few videos. Hopefully I'll have the basis of the series out by then. And as always, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and check out some of my other videos.